Hello, my name is Charles Brown. This is my oral presentation. I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. And the name of this oral presentation, a 40-hour work week, full-time dad, full-time student. Simply, how do you do it? Um, and we're going to be talking about basically, as a full-time worker, a full-time father, and as well as a full-time student, how can you do all of this all at the same time? So these are just my tips on letting everybody know and trying to help them as far as to get your mindset and your heart in the right place to be able to work all these things at the same time. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do out of everything, you want to find balance. Balance is key to making sure that everything flows smoothly and it flows in the direction that you need it to for success. So, whether you have to set a schedule, have some kind of time to where you have everything set aside as far as when, hey, you got to wake up at a certain time. Like personally, for me, I have to be to work at 4:30 a.m. and I get off at 1 p.m. That time is obviously taken up after I get home, getting off at work at 1. I may have to make some kind of time schedule to dedicate to my schoolwork while my child's at the sitter. And after that, I go ahead and pick up my child and move on from there into the rest of my day and balancing as a father. Okay. So after finding the balance and making sure that you have actual schedule that you can set out and making sure that you're able to do all these things at the same time, here comes the fun part: disciplining yourself. Um, this one was key for me, especially when I was going back to school. I'm 35 years old currently right now, and it was really a challenge for me because I was out of school for so long. I had to get used to the schedule and the demand, and it did weigh down on me for a time. But then what I had to remember is my goal. What was my goal, and what was my need for going back to school? And that kept me motivated because the end result was going to be better, but I had to overcome those things within me that were showing me, that were pushing against me to actually want to, well, I remember before I was going to school, I was doing this, I was doing that. And there has to be a place to where you have to just steel yourself and say, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to reach my goal in the end. Next, I had to examine my weaknesses and actually even write them down at times. One of the things I recognized in myself, and you have to be honest, you have to be honest, because if you're not honest with yourself, it's going to be very hard for you to succeed. I had to notice my weaknesses. Um, Personally, for me, there's a bit of laziness, a tendency to actually make sure, be complacent. Um, and really, those two tendencies right there is what held me back in a lot of areas, especially with falling first starting. I found out that I was falling behind in some assignments, and then the thing about it was I was doubtful of my abilities to be able to go actually come back to school after being gone for so long. And what I had to do was recognize those weaknesses. And once I recognized those weaknesses and listed them, like you see here in this slide, I was able to work on those weaknesses and strengthen my lack of ability and able to even increase, you know, the workload that I was doing sometimes and getting ahead in assignments and then really being able to prosper. And my grades went up um, and the level of work, and I was really surprised at what I could really do. So it's good to examine those weaknesses. And then after that, I had to stay consistent. Staying consistent is so very important because if you're not consistent, you're going to fall off. Consistency is the key. And I know we hear that a lot. That is so true. The more consistent we are, the better it becomes a lifestyle. And that's what we want. We want our lifestyle to even reflect that. It's like a training process for us. And finally, the most important thing, once you stay consistent, never give up on yourself. Don't look back, look ahead, and keep going. Don't ever give up because in the end, you will make it, but you have to stay focused and not give up. Thank you for listening to my presentation. This is Charles Brown. Have a blessed day. And I hope these tips help you.